Like that. Hey, how are you, everybody? Ernesto Vega, broker of Canvas Real Estate, coming to you live today from the Doral office. I have a very full house here with me today. You can
I lost you. What happened?
Yeah, we lost him.
We lost him. Okay. No, you're out. We lost Ernesto. Yep. Too much
Okay.
shaking around. No, you're out.
Now,
No, you're back. Yeah.
hello.
Yep.
What's
Can hear you. You're good.
okay?
Lost Ernesto. Yep. Too much shaking around. No, you're out.
Apparently.
No, you're back.
Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm back. All right, so let's try this again. Good morning to everybody. Ernesto
Yep.
Vega. You lost me again or no?
Lost Ernesto. No.
Okay.
Too much shaking around.
Apparently.
No, that's repeating itself. I don't know why.
Let's try this again. Good morning to everybody. Ernesto Vega. You lost me again or no?
Lost Ernesto. No.
No, but you're repeating yourself.
It looks like you're playing the recording.
Try this again. Hold on, everybody. Technology only works when it wants to work, and it was not working. All right, let's try this for the fourth time. And good morning. And my name is Ernesto Vega, broker with Canvas Real Estate. And I thank you for your patience while technology did not want to work for me. So today, my co-host is Ruben Crispino, lead organizer of the I changed the title, lead organizer or of the Bring Down the Mortgage Rate movement in South Florida. But all kidding aside, Ruben is with CMG.
We lost him again.
Yep. Frozen.
It's frozen like the movie. Hold on.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, we changed it. We're good. Okay, so Ruben, go and intro yourself.
Again.
Yeah. All right. Well, while he's doing that, I guess we'll keep moving, right? So,
yes.
Ro, you can hear me fine, so we're good, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So my name is Ruben Crispino. I'm the regional manager for CMG Home Loans, the prime team there. We are one of the nation's largest lenders. We're on all 50 states, including Puerto Rico and Guam, soon to be intergalactical. In the meantime, we're just working on South Florida now. And do we have you back, Ernesto? I figured I'd keep just talking. So
yeah, no, we're good. We're good. I don't know what's going on with my laptop. I had to restart it. Yeah, I got 77 tabs open. I think that's the problem.
oh, well,
You're not supposed to have 77 open tabs.
do you know that I never have more than one tab open ever? I can only do one thing at a time.
All right. So Ruben, today's topic is one that's been asked around a lot, and I think that you are the best person to break this down. Because you started doing this at the age of 17, so this is you grown up in the space. So everybody talks about the differences between mortgage brokers and direct lenders, right? Some people brag that it's better to be a direct lender. Some people brag that it's better to be a mortgage broker. So I got a couple of questions, and then if you can, indulge me and elaborate on any of those answers. So the first question is CMG and the Prime Group. Are you guys lenders, correspondent lenders, or brokers? And what's the difference?
Okay, so CMG is definitely direct lenders. Okay, and the business has changed quite a bit. So I like to, and typically when we start off, Mortgage 101 with new agents, this is one of the first topics I touch on because everybody calls us mortgage brokers, right? And and that's fine. I don't have a problem somebody calling me a mortgage broker or not, but it's good to understand the differences, right? And I basically categorize the lending arms for the most part into three groups. Okay. And the first group is the bank, right? So you got banks that are brick and mortar. You walk in and you have a teller and you have drive-through and stuff like that. And, names like Chase and Wells Fargo and Bank of America come to mind. They do loans, okay? And in that group, I also put credit unions, Power Credit Union, Tropical Financial Credit Union, whatever it may be. And they do loans. And I put them all in that category, this category on this side. On the other end of the spectrum is the mortgage broker, okay? And the mortgage broker is a licensed individual and company, okay, that is allowed in their state. They have to get licensed in every state individually to broker loans to lenders that they are approved with. There's a process to getting approved with certain lenders. So bottom line, the mortgage broker works as someone who takes an application and shops around to different lenders like CMG. So for example, mortgage brokers sell us loans because we have a wholesale division and a correspondent division, just so you understand how it works. And they do that, and they shop around different lenders and have to work that avenue. And then there's the middle group, which I think is the best group. And I've worked in all three groups, so I think I am experienced enough to say what my opinion is on this. And in the middle group are what we call independent mortgage bankers, IMBs, direct lenders. People call us direct lenders. And why do I think we're in the best position? Well, because we have the best of both worlds, right? We are as big and bigger than many banks. We are using our money. We're closing in our name. We use our underwriters. We use our processors. We use our funders. We're not brokering most of the loans to anybody. We package our loans. We can sell them in the secondary market. We can sell them to Fannie Mae. We have a mortgage portfolio. We service our loans. So we can do everything a bank does. Yet, when the occasion arises that we need a product or a situation that we need something maybe a little outside the box, maybe a foreign national loan, maybe a bank statement loan, we can either correspond with it. So we take off our little banker hat and we put our mortgage broker hat. And so we offer the best of both worlds, right? We offer direct lending products, which we have complete control of, which is the most important part. Not only pricing, I'm going to say it again, pricing, underwriting, processing, funding, closing, disclosure, everything. We control the whole process, which makes the process a lot more streamlined, efficient, and typically better experience for your customer.
Okay, so, and I'm gonna go all over the place. So does
That's
that
fine.
mean that you guys, like, do you fund the loans? You guys fund your own loans, or you gotta go and sell that loan before you close it?
No, we fund our own loans, and that loan will be on our line. It could be a matter of weeks or months, depending on where it's going, what kind of program it is. So yeah, we fund them and we also service the loan. That's the big part of being a lender, right? We're keeping the servicing. So once we close a loan, your customer is going to get a bill, paper bill or electronic bill, and it's going to have CMG's name on it.
Okay, so do mortgage brokers fund their own loans, or do they gotta go out there and sell this before they can close it? And could that
Correct.
delay transactions?
Mortgage brokers do not fund their own loans. They have to use either line of credit from whoever the lender is that they're using for, or and they fund the loan. So the issue with that is that you lose control, right? It's not, the mortgage broker does not have underwriters. The mortgage broker may or may not have processing. Most of them do not. They use independent processing. They don't have disclosures. They can't typically disclose themselves. The lender that they're using has to disclose themselves. And
so you jump to the next question, which was, do you underwrite and close your own loans, and do mortgage brokers do that also? So you answered.
Sorry. Sorry. But yes, we underwrite our own loans, especially on the conforming side. We also underwrite our own loans, even on the non-QM space, which is bank statements for national. We have our own loan in-house with that now. So we underwrite everything. It's really nice to know the name of your underwriter, right? And not just a one time. If I have an issue, I'm calling Melinda. Melinda's a head underwriter for the East Coast for CMG. She's on my speed dial if I have any issues. It's nice to have that kind of relationship.
So then this is my question. So what level of control do you have on their underwriting compared to your competitors, and does that facilitate timelines?
Well, absolutely. It's, like I said, I have Melinda's cell phone on my cell phone. So, underwriting is underwriting. We're not going to influence an underwriter one way or the other. The reality is sometimes our underwriters help us, restructure a file or look at it from a different angle that will make it work simpler or better for the customer, right? We all want to make sure that the customer has an excellent experience with us, right? Could you imagine if every one of your transactions goes perfectly, customer leaves with a great experience at the closing table, and now they're referring all their friends and family to you? Can you imagine that? That's what we want to offer. That is our goal. Our motto is every customer, every time, no exception, no excuses. And that's how we work. So the relationship that we have with our underwriter is to give that experience to the customer. Is what can we do together to make this file work as smoothly and as easy as possible? And there are underwriters. We get paid by the same big guy. So makes a big difference.
So one of the myths that you hear a lot, and people share this on social media, and oh, I'm a mortgage broker, I have more lenders than a direct lender, so I can shop around your deal better because I have access to XYZ amount of lenders, because I can broker it to anybody. And if you go to a direct lender, they only have one door to open, and if that door doesn't open, you're dead in the water. That's a myth that is shared around.
That is a big, yeah. So we have every lender that the mortgage broker has that they can sell a loan to, we're approved with. I think if I show you the list of places that we can broker loans to, it's more than any other lender because we're so well qualified. Our net capital is just crazy. So we're not going to get approved with any lender. We pick and choose who we want to do business with because, again, your reputation, your customer experience is important to us. So we want to make sure whoever we do broker a loan to, when that's necessary, also offers the experience to you and to your customer that we expect. So no, that is not true. See, at CMD at least, I think our broker numbers over 100 companies that we can broker loans to. However, we like keeping everything in-house because we control it. It's our underwriters, our process, and actually it's a better pricing for your customer too. So there's very few programs that we have to broker out nowadays.
Okay, it's and I know everybody's rates have become such a hot topic that it's literally overdone in my opinion. But are rates better if you go through a direct lender because there's less, let's call it middlemen, than if you go through a broker, or does it doesn't matter?
Not necessarily. Really, the rate, it depends on the program, the borrower, the type of loan to value, the type of property they're getting. Are there differences in rates between companies? Yeah, obviously there's difference in rates between companies. But the reality is that when you're a bigger lender like us, we can make more flexible with certain programs than we can with others. And again, we can broker out anywhere that they can. So I don't see there's no reason not to use it. I don't really, I dodge around your rate question. I play the dancing game with you when it comes to that, because I don't like to talk about rates too much, just because the rates can change from one moment to the next. That's the other difference too, is when we have a rate change, for example, let's say today the rates really drop, we're going to make a change today, and we're quick to do that. We don't have to wait for the broker to do it or the lender. We are the lender. We actually have what's called a broker dealer at CMG, which is basically CMG Securities. And what that does is some loans that we actually portfolio, a lot of our investor type loans, will portfolio it, and our investor our broker dealer can package them together and sell them in the secondary market. That creates a better process and also typically a better rate for your customers. So right now, our white label PLS service that we offer in-house is very, very competitively priced compared to most brokers.
Okay, so I'm here with my client, Mr. Smith. You're talking to them. What criteria do you use to determine what's the best avenue or the best lender to go with?
I'm glad you asked that question. So first, I want to tell you that the criteria that we use is whatever's going to get the customer closed and close at the best experience with the cheapest rate. And again, make it happen as quickly as possible. It's also what their future plans are, right? Because you can today maybe get a better rate or a worse rate, or a better program or a worse program. We want to know what the borrower's timeline is with this property. How long are they going to be in this property? Is this going to be their first home? Are they planning on being there for 2-3 years? Are they only in South Florida for 2-3 years and they're going to move back out? So all those questions need to be answered, as part of the consumer conversation that we have, and that determines a lot which way we go. Just know that we as lenders or loan officers don't make any more or any less depending on the program or the interest rate the customer gets. That's illegal. So we do not pigeonhole or force a customer into a program that would not benefit them. We're in this for the long haul. You know, we close, I believe, between retail, wholesale, and all our channels over 33 billion with a B last year dollars. So our idea is volume. We want to make sure that customer comes back to us to refinance. It comes back to you to buy their second home, their investment purchase, and obviously send them all your friends and family.
Okay. Fees, transaction fee, loan origination fee, Hawaii vacation fee. Is there a difference between mortgage brokers on the fees they can charge and direct lenders? Was it the same? Everybody has the same guidelines they gotta follow.
So there is a difference. There is a difference. Most loans that we do in-house, in other words, CMG is doing the underwriting, and that is your typical conforming loan or some of our non-QM that we have in-house. We don't have to charge points, origination points. There'll be a processing fee and there'll be an underwriting fee, but it's, you know, your standard fees, which the broker will also charge. But we don't have to charge points because our commission, our profit is built in to the whole process. When you go to the mortgage broker, the only way they get paid is by charging brokerage fees. If they're acting as a lender,
Wait, hold on. Rewind the tape and repeat that again.
that mortgage brokers, their commission is based on what kind of fees they charge, points they charge, right? So they can charge 2 points, they can charge 2.5 points, they can charge 1.5 points, and it'll be there. It's either and there's different ways that it can show up on an LE. It could flat out say, you know, origination points, or it could actually be built into the rate. But regardless, that's the way they get paid, right? Because there's nothing else. They're not making any money on the servicing. They're not going to package the loan. They're basically done. It's just one-on-one trade transactional. I take this loan, I sell it to this lender. I take this loan and I've got to make my commission based on that. We look at it very different. So we're not charging your customers points. We can charge points if necessary, for example, to bring down the rate or so we're not excluded from that, but we don't have to. So most people, right? What is the biggest issue that they have is having enough money for down payment. When you start adding points into the equation, it really takes a lot of people out of not having enough money to qualify.
Okay, and I know that Jaden and Ro had a question, but I have a couple of questions that I want to get through because otherwise I'm not gonna get out. Ruben, very important when it comes to transparency, right, and cost. The loan estimate, the LE, which is, you know, what the consumer gets up front. When it comes to broker showing total fees or direct lender showing total fees, are they both the same, or can some fees be skipped and then be brought up after?
So they should be the same.
Just to look good at the front, and then, you know.
Yeah. So it's remember the main thing here is the LE, right? We want to make sure it's a loan estimate, not a borrow worksheet. Okay, that's the key here, right? Because a borrow worksheet is very different. There's no real legality to it. But when you hand a customer an LE, we all have the same rules. So it's got to be on there. And we have limitations if that LE can and cannot change by certain percentages based on certain fees. From the moment that we disclose that LE to the moment we close it. We can vary on it a little bit, but not much. So yeah, there shouldn't be a difference, but what I'm seeing a lot is, oh, you know, it's not an LE that they're sending me. They're sending me a borrow worksheet. And once we see an LE, it should be all there.
Okay, so then if whatever's in the LE has got to be, I think they cannot come up with something else.
They can, and they obviously, you know, stuff happens, right? They change, they go from FHA to conventional, they go conventional to DSCR. Those kind of changes, you obviously are allowed to make changes through the process. But if the loan stays the same, you are stuck with a lot of those fees within percentage basis through the closing. Absolutely.
So when I'm looking at an LE, what should I be looking for? Should I be looking for points, credits, APR? Are those the key things that I got to put my eyes on?
Absolutely. All that's got to be on. Yeah. It's usually the top section of the LE that is controlled by the lender. Typically, the other sections are title cost and other costs related to the transaction, government fees. But yeah, once you have a true LE that comes from a reputable lender, it should all be on there.
Okay, so one of the other myths that you hear are that as a broker, I can offer credits to help with closing costs, and direct lenders cannot offer credits to assist with closing costs.
Yeah, that's not true. We can offer as many credits as they can to help with closing costs.
Okay,
There's no
so
difference. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's just, where are they getting the credits from? They're either baking it into a yield spread or they're lowering their commission. There's a couple different ways they can do it, but there is no difference. We can also help with closing costs. Um, again, depending on the file. It's all, like every answer in this business, the answer is always depends, right? Every situation is different than what you can and cannot do. But absolutely, we can do lender credits to help with closing costs.
okay. So before I go to the two questions on the chat, the last question, which is the way that you know if a business is really a business. What percentage of your files is referral and repeat, and which refer and what percent of your businesses leads you guys are buying?
Referral, we're like 99% referral and repeat. We really don't focus too much on leads that we're buying. I know we have some accounts with Zillow and that kind of stuff that we share, but you know, really, you guys know us now, especially the people at Canvas. We've been around for a long time. We're still here. So really our reputation, really precedes us. And we really feel that it's not just about closing the transaction. It's about giving the customer the experience that they want to come back. And we want to make that for the customer and also for the realtor. We want the realtor to have a great experience with us, feel like they've done a great job by referring us. And that's how we get most of our business.
Okay, so that's a great question. Jader, you had some things you wanted to, offer a couple of examples.
Yes, if I may, it'll be real quick. I kind of touching base on what you guys talked about. First of all, I apologize for the t-shirt. I'm home today. I'm with my daughter this morning, but I'm working from home. The thing I will say with other realtors on the call is definitely be careful out there. I know we're in a competitive world and we know the game. It is what it is, but ask the right questions. Always compare apples to apples. Brokers have a way to, and like I tell realtors all the time, until the loan is locked, don't fall for the smoke and mirrors. They will claim they have better rates and whatnot, but at the end of the day, the only way a borrower is going to get a rate really, really low, they're going to pay for it. And a lot of times they have a way to kind of, I don't want to say hide it because it's not about that. But for example, you may be getting a seller credit and your borrower may not know. And they'll literally tell you, don't tell the borrower that you're getting a seller credit. We'll use that to pay my compensation and whatnot. And that's how they pretty much get down to the lower rate. It's happened to me recently. And I actually, we all have contacts with brokers, and I priced out with another broker because this borrower kept telling me her friend is getting a better deal and getting a better deal. And in the end, we were a better rate, as far as, on par. So, and I've had plenty of couple of realtors in Weston when I've been there that they've, share with me their closing disclosures with, their borrowers have closed with brokers, and now their borrowers are calling them. Oh my God, my borrower's calling me because she closed and she's asking why were her closing costs about $8,000 more than what she was originally estimated. And I told the realtor, you don't have to show me the closing disclosure. I know where that's at. So always really, really ask the right questions. Even if they say they're offering a way better rate, make sure your clients ask, is this loan locked? Is it going to cost me anything? And do I have to pay a compensation? Because all those things, they might not disclose initially because the loan's not locked. So technically it won't show, and then they will hit you with it in the bait and switch. So always compare apples to apples because at the end of the day, the difference it's never gonna be that drastic between us and brokers. It is a competitive world, but just take care of your customers and make sure they're not falling or they're being told the smoke and mirror stories.
Okay, thank you. And Ro, you had a quick story.
I do. And I think it's my obligation to share this because then everybody else, just like me, be extra careful. So I've never had an encounter with a broker. My client decided to work with this broker, and it was one of the worst experience I have had because the father of the buyer was a co-signer, and his green card was like a month into expiring. And the person who was supposed to buy the loan, refused to buy it, and we couldn't close 5 days before the closing date because immigration would not give him a green card that soon, and the investor refused to buy the loan. So, short story, we couldn't close, and we went around and around and around, and I had a really bad experience with the listing agent, didn't want to give me an extension. We closed like miraculously, and with your help, I think you remember this case, that you spoke to the broker to give us the extension. Also, I have another story with another client that came with that broker, and the closing cost was $16,000 higher than what a normal closing cost was. And lucky for me, I didn't have to explain that, but just be careful out there. Ask questions like Yader said, because there's nothing in writing. It's not everything on the pre-disclosure, it has nothing to do with what you see in the real closing day. So that was just my two bad experience that I have had. And now I ask more questions.
Great. Yeah, we got to. Ruben, I got two more questions, then we wrap it up. Number one is, what is the average loan origination percentage fee in the industry?
Loan origination fee, well, I'll just tell you in general, a dollar amount for lenders, not brokers. Brokers, they don't have, they kind of do whatever they want, right? For most lenders, the origination fee, which includes processing fees, about $1,500. Could be $1,700, it could be $1,300, somewhere in that range on a transaction. Yeah.
Okay, and last question, because I know that with mortgage brokers, it's more difficult to do this. Are you able to make fast credit guideline exceptions to get a file approved? Because I know that with brokers, since the broker puts it together, it goes to whoever they're selling it to, then it has to get on the right. So it's a lengthy process that sometimes can add 20 days to 30 days to a file.
Yeah.
In a market like we're on here, that's closing in 60 days. Most sellers, go bananas. But are you guys been direct lenders? Do you have the flexibility to get those exemptions done, processed through
Yes.
quickly?
Well, absolutely. That's what I tell you. So, we try to use what we call common sense underwriting. It's got to make sense. If it makes sense, we're willing to do an exception. Again, because we can package loans ourselves and sell them, we can do pretty much whatever we want, as long as the loans continue to perform. I think the other benefit that you have at CMG, which is better than other lenders, I'm not even talking about brokers, is that we are the largest independently owned mortgage company in the country. And so we're owned by one owner, and Mr. George, and he has made his own exemption. I mean, I've had experiences where he's stepped in and wrote a big check to close a file just because he believes in the file. And you don't get that from other lenders. You definitely cannot get that from a broker. We had a situation, a file here in the Keys. We had one in Horse Country in Pinecrest area, where, bottom line, he wrote a check for $3.5 million to close a file. So, we have that flexibility. As long as it makes sense, we're going to do it.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for all the questions. Like always, this is what makes this forums work, is because everybody can bring in their questions. I hope today's session was informative, because it's a topic that gets thrown around a lot. Ruben, best way for them to get a hold of you?
So typically La Ventanita ahí in Versailles, you just drive by there. I'm usually there. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually living in Fort Lauderdale, but cell phone number 954-661-2790. I'm very good about calling you back. Leave me a message or a text.
Fantastic. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a fantastic Thursday. I'm here in the Doral office. We're going to do a little open forum of questions. So if you're in the area, pull up. See you guys around.
Thank you.